Hello everyone and welcome back to another beer review. Yeah, we got another change of scenery. Hope you guys like it because that's how it's going to be for a while. We got a beer from a poultry company today. It is an imperial vanilla stout from the Bird Brewery out of Haarlem, Netherlands. I've had this one in my collection for just over a year. It's still good. We're going to test it out today, see how it goes. I've never had a beer from Bird Brewery. That's a lot of bees, but I've heard good things. And so let's stop talking and start tasting, why don't we, huh? All right, let's see what we got here. It's a stout, that's for sure. I popped the top and there was not a lot of carbonation. I poured this thing pretty vigorously, so not much of a head on this thing, but I mean, it's a stout, so it's okay. Also, as I was pouring it, it was a pretty brownish, reddish color. It wasn't that like jet oil black that sometimes you get with stouts quite often. It's also not quite as thick as you might imagine for a stout, but again, you know, you don't know unless you try it, right? Let's get a smell on it first. Definitely vanilla, obviously. It's an imperial vanilla stout, so you're gonna expect some vanilla, but also getting some like raisins, some plums, some of those red berries smells as well. And it's a little bit boozy. Yeah, so it smells a little bit not like alcohol, but I mean, with a 10% beer, you know, you're gonna get some alcohol in there as well. So not a bad looking beer. Smells pretty good. Not assuming that this is going to be a nice summer drinking beer, you know, out on the beach or anything like that. In complete contrast to what we've been drinking the last couple of reviews. But cheers, let's try it out, why don't we, huh? That is not too bad, let me say that. Very robust, full-bodied beer. Even though you're not really getting that super jet black kind of a color, you are still getting that super heavy stout creaminess and body with it as well. It is probably a little bit cold, but even when it's cold, it's just super full of flavors. Getting some of that coffee in there as well, some nice chocolatey coffee, not overly bitter, not overly sweet. There is some of that booziness to it as well, like I said, but again, 10%, man. You're gonna expect a little bit of booze in there somewhere, a little bit of rum whiskey, kind of almost barrel-aged kind of a flavor, even though I don't think this actually is barrel aged. And even if it were, and if it said it on the bottle, I can't read it because it's all in Dutch. Anyway, this is no KBS, this is no Bourbon County Stout, but I'm assuming for the price, this is pretty comparable. I mean, a KBS, a Bourbon County Stout, those are really expensive, high cost beers. Yeah, I mean, even at Goose Island Brewery, I paid, I think, $35 for a 12-ounce bottle, which is the same as this size. I know I did not pay $35 or the equivalent in euro to purchase this beer. I can't remember exactly how much it was, but it was definitely under 10 euros. I just don't buy beers that are over 10 euros. So the price for the bang for the buck, this beer is a pretty damn good beer. We'll see how it kind of develops as it warms up, because usually stouts and malt-forward beers bring out a little bit more flavor as they warm. So I think this is still probably a little bit too cold, but we'll see how it goes along, huh? So as I alluded to in the opening, I have had this beer in my repertoire for quite a while. I bought it over a year ago, I think, last summer or last spring when I was in Amsterdam and Haarlem. Best before date, however, is December of 2019, so it's well within its best before date. And as I've mentioned before on this channel, stouts usually you can age for a good year or two or three, or sometimes you can age them indefinitely. Some will go for a really long time. And that aging process, all that does is really just kind of helps to mellow out the flavors. You lose some more of that booziness and you get more richer, smoother, rounder flavors within the beer. But this beer I'm drinking now, I'm quite a fan of it. Quite a fan of it. Well, let's talk a little bit more about this beer. As I said, it's an Imperial Vanilla Stout. It's got 10% ABV. The IBUs don't really matter. This is a limited edition or a seasonal release. I'm not really exactly sure how you want to define either one of those. I don't know if they brew this every winter or every spring, but this is not one of the 6 main beers that Bird Brewery brews, and I'll get to that in just a second. But this beer is actually brewed at the Jopen Brewery, and I've actually done a review on a Jopen beer in the past, so check out my channel, and I'll figure out a way to link it or something like that. Make sure you guys check out that review as well. And Haarlem is actually really they've got some pretty good breweries. They have Jopen, obviously, and Bird. This is actually the only Bird beer that I've ever had, but from what I've heard and read and researched, they've actually got some pretty damn good beers, so I might actually have to try out a couple more of them. And there's also another brewery which has a bird themed. It's called the Owl Brewery in Dutch. I can't remember how exactly you pronounce it. They also make some really, really good beers. Yeah, if you guys are ever in Haarlem, Netherlands, make sure you guys check out the beer scene there, because it's actually pretty top notch. So according to the Bird Brewery website, this beer has been brewed with a heavy dose of vanilla and coffee beans, and it also has some lactose in there as well. And that actually just essentially does what you would expect when you add milk to something. It kind of smooths and enriches that body and kind of thickens everything up and makes for a nice, smooth, creamy kind of a feeling and taste flavor stuff going on in your mouth. Definitely a creamy beer though, so you really taste the you don't only taste lactose, but you taste the effects of the lactose in the beer. And I'm guessing there's a pretty high grain bill, high protein grain bill as well in this beer to make that round, smooth, textury, velvety texture within the beer. So Bird Brewery has been brewing beer since 2016. They were founded by Ralph van Bemmel and Rick van den Berg. Great Dutch names. In 2016, their first beer that they came out with was an amber ale, which on ratebeer.com, which was one of the highest rated amber ales in the world. From the beginning, these guys have been brewing really, really nice beers. And in the last 2-3 years, they've actually collected quite a few awards. And even on this beer, they won an award in 2018 at the World Beer Awards for the country winner of flavored stout. So there you go. I can see why it would have won. It's a really nicely brewed beer. So as I already said, they have 6 seasonal beers, and I'm not going to try and pronounce the names of these beers because they're all in Dutch. But I'll tell you what types of beer they are. They have a Session IPA, a Saison, an American Amber, which was the first highly acclaimed one, an IPA, an American Brown, and a Scotch Ale. Of course, these guys do collaborations, seasonals, barrel-aged stuff as well, which is very typical for a lot of breweries nowadays. But a lot of their beers are winning awards. Like I said earlier, back in 2016, their Amber Ale was highly rated on ratebeer.com, and they're really known for their IPA as well as their Saison. You guys ever see a Bird Brewery beer? So many bees, man. There's so many bees. Make sure you guys go check them out. As we've discussed on this channel before, I really like looking at the labels, looking at the cans, looking at the bottles, and how they've kind of presented and marketed their beers. And Bird Brewery all has these kind of weird, cartoonish, bird-looking logos on all of their beers. Very colorful, very playful. I really like it. Just a normal bottle, normal sticker, but the artwork on the label is definitely pretty cool. So as this beer is warmed up a little bit, you really are noticing more of those fruity red berry kind of flavors. Plum, raisin, raspberries. With the vanilla and the lactose, that really like smooths and rounds things off very, very nicely. This definitely isn't a beer you want to be chugging. This isn't one you want to be knocking back. For one, it's 10%, so if you drink too many of these things, you're going to be wasted. But it's just a really thick, it's a very nice dessert beer. But just like chocolate cake, you don't want to eat a whole mess load of chocolate cake, otherwise you're going to have a stomach ache. You're probably going to have a stomach ache or two after too many of these guys. Definitely a good dessert beer, definitely an enjoyable beer. Not one that you're just going to be refreshingly knocking back. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are coming down to the end of this one here. That was really good. That was really delicious. Captain Blackbird, an Imperial Vanilla Stout from Bird Brewery out of Haarlem, Netherlands. That was right up there with some of the good American stouts that I've had before. So it doesn't really compare to like KBS or Bourbon County Stout, but for a non-barrel aged Imperial Stout, that was well brewed. Good on you, Bird. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. You guys know the whole drill. Like, comment, subscribe, share. And don't forget to write your representatives and tell them that you support common sense gun control legislation. So, see you guys next time on Belay. Have a good one.